Hello, my name is Dr. Alexander Lee. I am coordinator of voice studies and opera director at Marshall University. Today I would like to introduce you Korean traditional music gugak and its performance practice called Sigimsae. Dr. Sang-wook Kim advised this lecture, and I'm very excited to introduce you my national music with some of the example. So let's begin with the Korean scale. We have 12 tones like Western classical music or just regular music, but we usually use only 5 tones. So now I would like to talk about the two pentatonic scale that usually Korean music use. One is called Pyeongchang and the other one is Gaemeonjo. So let me talk about Pyeongchang first. First, this is a major mode. It's kind of major scale. This is also known as a blues major pentatonic scale in Western view. And the tonic, the root of the note is E flat in Korean traditional music. So these 5 notes that you can see from the screen is the Pyeongchang, which is more like a major scale in Western music. If I sing these 5 notes, these 5 notes, the scale is called the Pyeongchang, and the other scale we often use is Gaemeonjo. It's more like a minor mode. In Western perspective, can be seen as a minor pentatonic. These 5 notes is Gaemeonjo. So now let me talk about the performance practice. This is why the Korean pentatonic scale sounds distinctive and somehow a little different. Because a lot of folk song in the United States and a lot of European countries, even in Russia, all the folk song in a lot of nation has a pentatonic scales in the pentatonic song. One of the good example that I can think of right now is Amazing Grace. Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound. It also have only 5 notes only. So this is also kind of pentatonic song. But if you have a chance to hear Korean traditional song, it's quite distinctive, it's quite different. And this time I would like to introduce why it sounds different. It's because of the performance practice. Performance practice means how to perform the given notes or given scales or given measures. So with the Korean traditional performance practice called the Sigimsae, it sounds quite different compared to other music. So here is a performance practice of 5 principal 율명, the notes, in Pyeongchang, which is like kind of major. Hwang, the first note is tonic, and this is called 요성 in Sigimsae. It must be shake or warble the note. Second note is 태, in the Western Standard point is supertonic, known as a 퇴성 in Korean, and this note must glide the note to the preceding lower notes. So ba instead of da da, it must be So if you see the 태 in Korean music, then this note must glide to the preceding lower notes. Pyeongchang, which is 중. Jung is a subdominant note and it's known as a Pyeongchang. This song must be straight tone. So no wobble or no natural vibrato. It must be controlled Pyeongchang. So I am not trained Korean traditional singer, But if I try to demonstrate with my voice, instead of or it must be super straight tone without any vibrato. So it's sounds quite distinctive, called Pyeongchang. Fourth note is also Taesong, which is already introduced in the second example. So this note also must glide the notes to the preceding lower notes. So da 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 da. If I coming to the im to jung, fourth note to third note, third note it must be straight tone. So fourth note must glide to the third note, and the third note must be straight tone. And the fifth note, it doesn't have a special characteristic. So this is the shigimsae for all these 5 notes. And if I try to show these 5 notes with the shigimsae in 5-line step, this will be how it look like with the articulation marks. So Hwang, the first example in the red box, the vibrato or the medium vibrato, heavy vibrato, you can choose either one of these 3 articulation marks to show how much shaking articulation or performance practice you would like to apply. And te, which is the second note, you can put a little bit of gliding marks. And the jung, which is straight tone, z with a cross, it means like no vibrato is there. And the im, which is also gliding notes, one note to the preceding notes. So this is how it looked like in the 5-line step. And this is the articulation that I did not introduce in the previous page. If you see the V on the score, that is gongnonum, which is the grace note from above. So when note is coming from the above, this is how you do it. Chusong is allow pitch to rise. So if you see this mark, then that means you have to push these notes up. And if you see these, the third mark, that means you breathe it there. So these are the articulation I wanted to show you. You can find in the Korean traditional music. So chonganbo, this is, I just want to show like briefly how it looked like in the Korean traditional music score. And this is called a chonganbo. It's the Korean traditional music notation and invention of Sejong, which is the most well-known great king in Joseon Dynasty. And the first music notation in the whole Asia that can show pitch and also rhythm. So how can we read the chonganbo? Let me introduce you briefly. So the red box shows the title of the song. Blue box shows the rhythm. And the green box shows the lyric. And the yellow box shows the pitch, the note. So all these 5 notes that we learned just a minute ago, you all can find it here. But you know, these the letters is kind of hard to read, so I transcribed these notes to the 5-step line. So this time, even though I am not Korean traditional music experts, let me demonstrate how it sounds like. So there's only 5 notes, very simple. But with this Korean performance practice, shigimsae, it sounds quite distinctive and unique. So I hope you enjoy this example, and here we go. 벽사창이 어른 어른코 I hope you enjoyed this example. This is the excerpt from Korean traditional song Unlock. And you could heard only 5 notes, and these 5 notes are exactly same 5 notes that you can hear from Amazing Grace. There is only 5 notes, but because of different performance practice, like straight tone, gliding, and scooping up the sounds with the current traditional performance practice, I bet this sounded quite different compared to Amazing Grace. Now I would like to introduce the last example of this lecture, which is Amazing Grace, actually, the same song that I have mentioned with the Korean traditional instrument Taepyeongso. Do-gi Hong will play this song. I'll also add a little bit of the example, what notes and what Sigimsae is used in Amazing Grace. And I was Alexander Lee, and my advisor Sang-ho Kim helped me a lot for this lecture, so I appreciate it. If you have any question about Sigimsae and the performance practice in Korean traditional music, please do not hesitate to contact me. My email address, as you can find from the screen, you can reach me via this email address. I hope you enjoyed the very last musical example.